right, welcome in to Big Hitters Only. Very special episode. We have North Carolina Governor Josh Stein on the show. What's up, Governor? How are you?
I'm great, doing well. I'm up in Asheville today. We have the North Carolina Awards, and one of the recipients for his contributions to the public life of North Carolina is Coach Roy Williams. So, really proud to be able to honor him tonight.
That's huge. And we'll get into some more Western North Carolina stuff at the end of the episode. I want to first talk about our sponsor. We have Roback, promo code BHO20. Check out Roback. Josh, I think you should get your UNC alum staff members one of these hoodies. They're awesome right here with Roback, promo code BHO20. Check that out for everyone. I know my guy Seth would want one, and maybe Christy Cunningham. I know you have a lot of UNC alums on your staff.
Kate would like one, my communications director.
It's an awesome hoodie from Roback. Anyway, we're going to go 10 minutes on UNC basketball and then 10 minutes of some off-topic stuff related to your first year as governor. So let's dive right into it. This team, 3 games in, big win over Kansas. Understand you were at the game, the Kansas game, and then 2 nights ago at Radford. What's your general take on what you really like about this year's version of the Tar Heels?
I'd say effort and ball movement. One thing the team didn't have last year was height, and you can't coach height. But the starting front court, 7'1", 6'11", 6'10", and it's the shortest guy who jumps center. So, Caleb Wilson's 6'10", but he jumps like he's 7'4". So it just makes a huge difference in terms of screwing up the other team's shots, in terms of the alley-oops. The fact that, and I don't know how to pronounce people's names very much because I just read, I don't do audio. Is it Vesar? Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Vesar. I think you're good with either one of those.
But Vesar and Wilson have already been doing this high-low game that's exceptionally impressive, as if they've been playing together for a couple of seasons. And the one thing about this team that just takes time as a Carolina fan to get used to is the fact that everybody but Seth Trimble and then High and James Brown, they're all new. And so everybody's new, not only to us, but they're new to each other. And so usually it takes a little while for there to get that kind of familiarity and smoothness. But this team seems pretty clicked in. And the fact, my one suspicion about Vesar and Wilson, because I had never really seen them play, is when you're kind of a skinny big man, are you going to play with intensity or are you going to get pushed around? And both of them have just played really hard, jumping on the ground for loose balls. Both of them have been very intense, and it's encouraging to watch.
Yeah, I think what is cool about this team is they're going to get so much better the more they play together, the more they play competitively over December and January and stuff. And so the fact that they haven't played a lot together in real life scenarios, you'll see that improvement more so than you would with a team that brings back, 5, 6, 7 players. So that's exciting too. And Caleb Wilson's been unreal. Just a leader, an incredible player, and so vocal on social media. He seems like someone that UNC hasn't had in so long.
Just a big personality, strong personality, somebody who I'm sure the team's going to rally behind. He knows he's the best player. He's not afraid of acting like it, but it doesn't appear like he's acting like it in a way that's off-putting to his teammates. It just seems like they all seem to like each other, which is great. Of course, Trimble's the heartbreak. He was my favorite player on the team last year, and so I was really hoping he would stick around when everybody was considering whether to transfer or stay. And I was really happy that he did because he seems to really be one who loves Carolina for what it is and Carolina basketball for what it is. Having been a kid watching his older brother Tokoto play, he understands it. He lives it. And so I was thrilled he stuck around. I think he's really important to the team because of that experience and his leadership, even if it's quiet leadership. And so his injury is it's most unfortunate for him. Poor young man. But, you always try to find, is there a silver lining? And as you said, over the next 2 months, all these guys are going to have more opportunity, particularly the guards who may not have gotten as many minutes. They have an opportunity to play more, hopefully get more confident in the system in Chapel Hill so that when he comes back, they're better and the bench is better.
Yeah, Jonathan Powell getting more time. Jaden Young, a Greensboro guy who was transferred from Virginia Tech, and I think
Yep.
Luka Bogovac getting him some more time here early. He didn't really join the team until August, and was delayed and missed all the preseason games. They finally got him ready to go, ready for that first game. So I think he can be really good. I think they're going to miss Seth Trimble's just athleticism. I mean, yeah, he also the team leadership,
Defense. I mean, this
defense
defense,
is
like
huge.
he can lock down a wing like nobody else. I mean, he gets through screens stronger and better position than anybody I've seen on in the backcourt.
Yeah, he's so athletic too. Like he plays bigger than he's 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". I mean, his leaping ability and his physical strength makes him play 6'5", 6'6", so he can defend the other team's best shooter or best
Yeah.
offensive player, which is huge. Outside of the players we talked about, is there anyone else who's kind of been exciting you've seen these first 3 or 4 games?
That's interesting. Yeah, I root for guys who've been putting in the work, and so James Brown, I want him to really succeed. He looked pretty comfortable out there with Radford. He thickened up. He was real skinny
Yeah,
as a freshman, and so he looked stronger. So I'm happy every time he gets out there and does well. Um, you know, Luca was funny the way he said, "I'm a pro." He's older than these guys. He's played at a higher level than these guys, and so I think that brings a steadying influence. And point
Jaron
guard from
Stevenson. Oh,
no
Kai and
point guard,
Evans.
yeah, Evans from Colorado
Yeah,
State. Um, I think he's the one guy who hasn't quite gotten to where he's going to get. I
yeah.
have confidence that his shooting's going to get better. His passing's going to get better. I think in the Kansas game, he came out at the start of the second half, and I think he had 3 assists on the first 4 possessions, and that's when the game just completely flipped. And
Yeah.
so I think he's going to get more comfortable as time goes by. But I just and Jaron Stevenson, anytime a hometown guy, even though he's Pittsburgh, not quite Chapel Hill, goes away and comes back, you're rooting for him because I was hoping he was going to come the first time around before he went
Yeah.
to Alabama. So glad to have him on the team now. I think it's going to be a really fun team to watch this year. I'll say this: like at the Kansas game, just to be clear for viewers who don't know, I grew up in Chapel Hill, so I have been to big games throughout my entire life. I can remember first time I saw James Worthy sort of be who he can be was against Maryland and Al King in Carmichael Auditorium when he was a freshman. So that would have been like 78, 79. And he stole the ball 6'9". And back then, 6'9" guys didn't really dribble, went down court and just did the most amazing slam. And Carmichael, the roof just went off the building. And there was energy in the Dean Dome that just frankly hasn't been there the last couple of years, where we're playing a big name team. We're meeting their level, and then we're actually doing better, and you win by double digits. I mean, that actually used to happen a lot in
Yeah.
Chapel Hill. And so to have that feeling back again, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple down years, however he wants to say it. It's been a couple down years, really since COVID, with some peaks and definitely some valleys. So, you want to see Hubert succeed and get this thing rolling, and it's a great example of how good this team can be and how fun the fan base can be in that arena as well. Kai and Evans, I think he got way more comfortable in the second half versus Kansas, and so
Mhm.
his shooting came, his passing came, and he just needs to play with confidence. He needs to be more aggressive. I think I saw where he only had a couple shots against Radford. Like he's a scoring point guard. So he's huge. I mean, he needs to be a big time player for UNC. He doesn't need to be the leading scorer, but he needs to be the third leading scorer in a lot of games and contribute 10 points and 5 or 6 assists, which is going to be huge. All right.
Yeah.
Where do you usually watch it? So you have to when you go to the game. I'm sure you have great tickets. If you're not at the game, what are you doing? You watching it at home, or you're traveling a lot? What's your kind of UNC basketball viewing experience? Because you are like a big time fan.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm not I'm going to try to go to most games when I'm around. So if I'm not at the game, it's usually because I'm traveling for work somewhere. So I'll watch on this little computer of mine, probably watch it on my computer more than anywhere else. But I have a TV at the governor's house, at the governor's mansion in Raleigh. So I'll watch it there sometimes. Um, Friend's house, just normal person.
Love it. All right, here's actually a question. There's big talk about the UNC basketball arena moving and changing locations. just kind of not outgrown the Dean Dome, but they need a refurbished situation with more premium boxes, maybe less seating. They're thinking about maybe moving it to Carolina North. What are your thoughts on that? There's so many different angles. It's very political. There's a lot of operations and administrative aspects to it, with the hospital being right there by the Smith Center and so much land out there by Carolina North. Have you done any research on that? And do you have any thoughts on what UNC should do or will do?
And I don't. Any opinion I have is really just as a fan. It's not as governor. I'm even reluctant to say anything because there are bigger forces at play in
Yeah.
terms of the need for income for the athletic department over time. And I understand that the Dean Dome, was built at what, 86, just
Hmm.
before the boxes became a thing in all the stadiums. And the boxes end up being a major source of revenue for teams. So I understand there's a whole economics that plays into this. And I haven't studied the numbers. I don't know what those economics are. I don't know how the return on investment in terms of how much is it going to cost to build it, how much more would a new facility generate for the university over a 20 or 30-year period of time. I haven't done any of that. I haven't seen it. To me, I'm in the Dean Dome and I'm like, this is a good building. And,
Yeah.
I'm old school. I'm old school.
There's also the idea that they could build like apartments and dorms and bars and restaurants and provide more economic aspects for the community out there. And it's only a mile from, or less than a mile from Franklin Street. So it's interesting, and I'm interested to see what happens. All right, let's move on to the off topic, more political aspect of this podcast. We really appreciate Governor Stein's time here. I'm literally podcasting in my basement. There's nothing big time about this show, so really appreciate your time. Japan, just got back from Japan. The Toyota
Amazing.
plant, I read today, is starting to ship out batteries already in Liberty. I'm in Greensboro, so Liberty is a suburb of Greensboro. And there's a lot of economic impact that's going on, and you seem to be driving that with bringing in jobs to North Carolina. How is the trip to Japan? What does that look like when you go with your envoy to Japan, and what's kind of the purpose, short term, long term, about what you're doing over there and what you're hoping to bring?
Yeah, I led a trade delegation from the state, meaning some state Department of Commerce folks went with me. We have a unique way of doing it in North Carolina. There's a nonprofit group called the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina, which is hand in glove with our Department of Commerce, and we're sort of a tag team. So I went with a group of those folks. The ostensible reason for going was the Southeast U.S. Japan Association. This is 6 or 7 southern states. So I wasn't the only governor there. The governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee, the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, they were also there. Other states had Secretary of State or another representative. And we go there to meet with Japanese companies that are interested in the southeast of this country. And then while I was there, I obviously took advantage of being there. I had something like 30 one-on-one business meetings with Japanese corporations. They'd either have existing operations, Toyota was one, Fujifilm Biotech, which is investing $3 billion in Holly Springs to build the largest end-to-end biomanufacturing facility in North America in Holly Springs, North Carolina. So I met with a couple of those companies that have operations here just to touch base and find out how things are going from their perspective. And then I met with a number of companies that are considering coming to North Carolina. And, I don't have any big announcements to do today, but I'm hoping that some of those meetings bear fruit down the road. And so it's fairly grueling, it's meeting after meeting after meeting, speech, then meeting, and then a speech, and then, a fancy dinner with dignitaries. And, it was fun. I'd never been to Asia, Far East. I'd never been to Japan. It's an incredible place, just incredible, clean, beautiful, friendly, exceptionally polite, very formal, real different than the United States. I'm generally not a tie wearing guy, but I wore a tie to every meeting because that's just how it is in Japan. You dress up for the moment. And it was exciting. And I think there is going to be a lot of opportunity. The one thing that's really cool is that the brand of North Carolina is exceptionally well known. Like, they know it. When the Japanese prime minister, the previous one, had been in the country last year in 2024, he visited one state other than DC, and that was North Carolina. And so the Japanese media was all about North Carolina, North Carolina, North Carolina. They know we're the number one state for business this year, and we've been 3 of the last 4 years. They know we're one of the fastest growing states, the third fastest growing state in the country. I met with a lot of life sciences companies. We're the number three cluster state for life sciences, biotech, and pharmaceuticals in the country. And so we've just got a lot of things going for us, and they all know about our workforce. They know that we have amazing community colleges, amazing public universities, and they want to be part of it.
I want to touch back on that. A couple quick hitters. What was the best thing you ate in Japan?
Um, Kobe beef, and I
Okay.
did have some amazing sushi. I mean, it was just the food is
Yeah.
quite good. A
I,
lot of
I,
those restaurants, and some of them we went to kind of like just little holes in the walls off the street, and they have the little grill on the table in front of you, and you cook your own meat, and they bring you all meats, and including some meats I chose not to partake of.
well, that leads to my next question. What was the most interesting thing you ate there, or maybe saw that you didn't eat?
Um, the most adventurous thing I did was some beef heart,
Okay.
which
That's pretty
I
good.
don't, I did it and probably don't need to do it again.
There you go. Okay, you are almost a year in to being governor.
Yep.
This is probably not what you're expect. What's been the coolest perk? What's the coolest thing that has happened to you or that you get to do you didn't get to do before? Or anything relates to that?
I I love having fun. So I love going out and enjoying North Carolina, and in the process, I'm promoting North Carolina, getting to lift it up because the media seems to care what I do, and so going to the Outer Banks and doing hang gliding um, at, at Kitty
Jockey's
Hawk,
Ridge. Yeah.
yeah, and then whitewater rafting the Nantahala, or going to Carolina basketball games. I got to watch the Carolina Duke ACC game in Charlotte in the ACC tournament last year when we had a great chance to win that game. So it's just there's a lot that's fun, and there's a lot that's hard. It's grueling. It pretty much is 7 days a week, and there's always something I can be doing and should be doing, and so I just have resolved that when there are fun opportunities, I'm going to try to take advantage of them.
What's one thing? Well, fun fact here: I was a whitewater rafting guide on the
That's
Nantahala
cool.
for 2 summers
Cool.
in college. So when I saw you do that, I was like, I know exactly where he is on Nantahala Falls, there with your family. You've done great
Exactly.
publicity for Western North Carolina, going on was it the Fallon show or was it late night with
No, it was Colbert. It was Colbert.
Colbert? Yeah, I mean, you've been great promoting Western North Carolina. It's been awesome to see. What's one thing that you did not expect? That's kind of that you didn't know about being governor. That's been surprising to you in this first year.
I guess even though I'd had real visibility into the job because I was Attorney General for 8 years, and
Hmm.
Governor Cooper, he's a friend. I've known him for a long. I worked for him for 8 years in the Attorney General's office, so I had pretty clear visibility. But it's like when you're in that scrum that moves around, it's just different than when you see it. It's just I'm a pretty spontaneous guy. I'm an informal person. I'm used to like just going out to my neighborhood restaurant and getting a sandwich. That's how I've always lived my life. And so it's just, there are now people who go with me wherever I go. The
Yeah.
idea of just running to the drugstore for a quick errand, it kind of doesn't exist anymore. And that takes getting used to. I'm used to just being really spontaneous, and I'm having to be less so. Uh, it's a small price to pay for the great honor of doing the job. There's no question. It just is.
Yeah, great. Yeah, two things to get you out here as we near the 20-minute mark. Um, I want you to give us the ideal weekend in Western North Carolina. I go there all the time. I go 5 to 6 times a year. We have a small cabin outside Mars Hill. My grandparents lived there for a while, so I know all about Western North Carolina. Give us like your ideal weekend, hitting the different spots you like. You can name drop some restaurants or breweries or anything to set the stage for a weekend in Western North Carolina.
Yeah. Well, I we there's a Western residence. It's actually where I'm filming
Oh,
this podcast because of these North Carolina awards tonight, and So the base is Asheville. I love 12 Bones. Now have to go to Arden because the one in the River Arts District is out of commission. I loved White Duck down by the. I love being by water, so I loved being
Hmm.
down by the river. I had dinner last night at Taco Temple in Asheville on Charlotte Street. Um, there's this really cool place. It's near you. If you spent time in Marshall near Mars Hill, the Marshall, the Madison County Jail, Old
Hmm.
Marshall Jail, it's just this really cool, very good restaurant, hip bar right on the river, and it actually has 4 or 5 rooms. Josh Kopus is this very talented, creative entrepreneur who took this old jail and has turned it into this really cool place. That's great. Anna just spent the night 2 nights ago at the New Way Inn, or New Ray Inn, New Way Inn, New Way, whatever it's called. I'm sorry for forgetting, in Burnsville, which is
Yeah.
one of the oldest, longest continuously serving hotels in the state. And this couple just bought it a couple years ago and has really spruced it up. And they're pulling this really cool speakeasy in the basement. That's a cool place. There are just so many gems, and each town has gems, whether it's Mars Hill, whether it's Sparta, whether it's Waynesville, Hendersonville, whether it's Burnsville, Marshall, Madison. I mean, Mars Hill. There's just Bryson City, Franklin. There's just so many cool little towns out here, and every one of them has a brewery, has a cool
Yeah.
pizzeria, has a kind of a high-end restaurant. So you come out here, you go out and enjoy the nature during the day, unbelievable waterfalls, hikes, beautiful forests, and then work up your appetite a little bit, and then there are like more breweries per capita here than almost anywhere in the country. So come here and have a great time.
Yeah, all the little towns, little pockets. You got to get outside of Asheville, outside of Boone. There's so many other cool little small towns that are they're great to see. Finally, get you out of here. You mentioned how North Carolina is like booming and it's great for business. How do you plan? This is a broad question, infrastructure wise and job wise, and housing for all of the people that you expect to move here. Like, what goes, because it's going to extend past your governorship. Like, what's the
Yeah.
process of establishing all this boom and then preparing so that the state's ready for that? Like, what goes into that pre-planning for that?
Yeah. Well, what we have to do is to make it easier for homes to be built in the state. There's this saying, if you build it, they will come. And what we're learning in North Carolina is if you don't build it, they will still come. So we've got to get ahead of things. For instance, Charlotte just passed a transit referendum because they're adding like 150 people a day in Mecklenburg County. So they've got to try to stay ahead of it so we do not turn Charlotte into Atlanta where it's just gridlock. In terms of housing, there are things that we can do to make it easier for people to build housing of all types, whether it's single family, duplexes, triplexes, condominiums, accessory dwelling units, apartment buildings, special needs housing. There are all these things that we need all of that. And we just got to get rid of some of these rules that inhibit the construction of them. And so that is actually an issue that I'm working on as we speak.
Love it. I wanted to ask you about marijuana as well, but we've reached 23 minutes. Thank you so much for your time. Roback, promo code BHO20. Looking forward to seeing you at some UNC games, and really appreciate your time, Governor.
Ross, enjoyed it. Take care, man.